Hello. So here I'm going to convert from rectangular to trigonometric form. One way to do this is to look and see what does this mean in rectangular form. So in rectangular form, this point is radical 2 plus I radical 2. Then to put this into trigonometric form, we need to find the R value, the modulus, so if we have a right triangle with an x value of radical 2 and a y value of radical 2, what is the length of the hypotenuse? A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Two plus two is 4, square root of 4 is 2. So we have the modulus, but what about the angle? Well, if you have the legs have the same length, then you have an isosceles triangle. You have a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So this is going to be cosine of 45 degrees and sine of 45 degrees, which is the same thing as pi over 4. So this final answer is going to be the modulus, which is 2, and then we need cosine of pi over 4 plus I sine pi over 4. This works because cosine of pi over 4 is radical 2 over 2. Sine of pi over 4 is radical 2 over 2. When I multiply the 2 here, your denominators simplify. And this is what we began with. Okay. Similarly here, this is all about triangles, and so let's make this into well, this is the same thing as and to graph that, there's the point. The distance from there to the origin is 4. So we have the R is equal to 4. And looking at this, we come up with at z is equal to, we have 4 times, now this is what I want to come out with. 4 times -1 is -4. Cosine of what is -1? And that's pi. So this is going to be cosine of pi. And then sine of pi is 0. So this would be your final answer. And we can test this. Cosine of pi is -1 plus sine of pi is 0. And we have the same number that we began with. I don't like using the grids on problems like this because I like to be accurate, and plotting the exact point of -3 radical 2, it's kind of complicated. But the rest of this should not be too complicated. We're doing right triangles. Personally, I do like the grid look of the paper. So what is our hypotenuse? If I included the, I'll include the negative because it's completely proper, but the negative when squared turns into a positive. Three squared is 9. Radical 2 squared is 2. 9 times 2 is 18. 18 plus 18 is 36. Square root of 36 is 6. Okay, so that's the R value. And then our theta, well, this point is 5 pi over 4. So here we have and that's your final answer. And this works because cosine of 5 pi over 4 is negative radical 2 over 2. And then plus I sine of 5 pi over 4 is negative radical 2 over 2. So that when I distribute this 6n, this gives me this, which is what we began with. Okay. I don't know exactly what -4 times radical 3 is. It's going to be about 6 or 7. So we'll call it there. So here the r is equal to 8. And if I were to divide everything by 1/2, if I divided everything by 8, that turns this into a 1. -4 by 8, -1/2, and this by 8. Okay, that gives me 60 degrees up in here. That makes this 240 degrees. 240 degrees is 5 pi over 3. 5 pi over 3? 4 pi over 3. So cosine of 4 pi over 3 is -1/2. And the sine of 4 pi over 3 is radical 3 over 2. So that when I multiply this in, 8 times -1/2 is 4 minus 4 radical 3i. And that's what we started with. (16) 16 is the same thing as 16 plus 0i. So I hope that just looking at this, you see that the r is equal to 16. And then here I'm going to have cosine of 0 plus I sine of 0. And this works because cosine of 0 is 1 plus 0i gives me 16. And that's what I began with, 16. So 16 is the same thing as 16 times cosine 0 plus I sine 0. Okay. Thank you very much. Please go to tutoring.